What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Thursday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Peralt. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt. Following another 1-1 night. This is a little bit of a trend here, but back-to-back nights, back-to-back 1-1s. We get the under right for the Aces. We do not get the under right for the Storm. Went 0-2 on Sparks games and back-to-back games. Took the Sparks plus the points night before that. Lost. Took the under. Lost. Kind of a bummer there with the Storm and the Sparks, but we get ourselves the Aces and the Fever to go under, so we are down 0.1. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just a little bit of an under kind of trend here. We're down a little bit, little paper cut as we head towards Thursday. Welcome back, football. So I've got 4 plays for us here today on a Thursday night football. I have one straight bet. I've got one teaser, and I have 2 player props for us to jump in with here that I like a lot that I'm going to bet a half a unit on here. So we'll have a little over 3 units in play like we normally do on a Thursday. But before I tell you about the picks and the plays, this podcast is being presented by DraftKings. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Use the code JUICE. That's JUICE for new Pick 6 customers. You play $5 to get $50 in Pick 6 credits guaranteed, plus 1 month of NFL Plus with Red Zone and NFL Network only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions may vary by jurisdictions. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. 1 per new customer. Reward issued as $50 in non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 6 months. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at NFL.com/terms. Okay, let's get into this big divisional game between the Dolphins and the Bills. All right, we saw a really, really bad week 1 for running the football. Sorry, for passing the football. We saw a really good week 1 for running the football. I don't know if that trend is going to continue, but we do know that Tua Tagovailoa can really throw the football, and he has Tyreek Hill, who hopefully won't get arrested or detained on his way to the game here tonight at Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins won their first game last week on Sunday, 20-17. Didn't cover the 3.5-point number. This is now 2.5 up against Buffalo. Now, if you look back in week 1 last year, Tua lost 21-14 at home to the Buffalo Bills. Didn't cover in that game either. They were short home dogs here, or home favorites rather. Oh, Buffalo's favorite, actually. Buffalo was 2.5. They were home dogs. Buffalo won by 21. In that game, Tua was 17 of 21 for 173 yards. That will not get it done here tonight if that's how they're going to play. This team needs their offense to click, but the defense needs to bring their hard hat as well. They played well against the Jaguars in the second half. In the first half, it wasn't great. Tua threw for 338 yards last week. 23 of 37 had the 80-yard touchdown toss to Tyreek Hill, but he was equally effective throwing the football and spreading it around, getting off to a 1-0 start here. Big win, didn't cover. The Bills, same thing for Buffalo. Buffalo didn't cover. They won by 6. They did not cover the 6.5. They were very close to covering, but they didn't cover, much like Tua and the Dolphins. Close to covering, but they didn't cover. Dolphins are at home, okay? I tend to, on short weeks, teams that played at home the previous week on that Sunday, they didn't travel, having to stay at home and take on the Buffalo Bills, who traveled down to South Florida. It's going to feel like 105 degrees, all right? It's at night, so the sun won't be the problem, but the humidity will be. And playing football in Miami when you're not used to it and you're playing from Buffalo, New York, I think the Bills could have a tough time in the fourth quarter. Short week, hot place. Miami's used to it. This is Dolphins. Home Dolphins. 2.5. I'm going to lay the 2.5 here with the Dolphins, okay? I think the Dolphins win the game by 3 or 4 points. I don't think it's going to be It could very well be like last week. Last second field goal to win the game. It could come down to that. So since it's 2.5, it's less than a field goal. I feel good jumping in here. Now, it may go up to 3, but it may come down too. Could see some Bills money coming in here with Josh Allen, the way Josh Allen has played. But I just think Tua in this offense will do enough, not a ton, but they'll do enough here to get the win. I'm going to lay the 2.5 points with the Miami Dolphins at home up against the Buffalo Bills. And frankly, under Mike McDaniel, they've been pretty good. I mean, the Dolphins have been pretty good at home up against divisional teams. And if you kind of go back and look at what happened last year for Tua in games at home against divisional opponents, he played pretty well. He didn't play against the Bills, like I mentioned, but when they played at home against the Jets, they won the game 30-0. Tua threw for 224 yards. Up against the Patriots, he went 30 for 45 for 324 yards in a 31-17 victory. At home against there was the Bills and the Jets and the Patriots. So those are your 3 home games. 2-1. Tua played well in both wins. I think he'll play well here tonight. I think the Bills are going to have a tough time on a short week after a hard-fought game against the Cardinals. I'll lay the 2.5 points. I'll take the Miami Dolphins minus 2.5 for 1.1 units. However, Thursday night, short week, I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense. We could, but I think the defense will be again ahead. Don't think the passing games will be really there. We could run the football, but I'm not in love with the passing game. I'm going to same game tease this. I'm going to take the Bills up to plus 8.5. I'm going to go from 49 up to 55, and I'm taking the under. I just think the under. I just don't think we're going to see 55 points here in a divisional game. And other than, yes, the Patriot game wound up with a 48, 31-17. 30-0, 21-14 at 55 points. Last year, the 3 divisional games at home for Miami all went under 55 points. I just think you look at last week at home against Jacksonville, that game goes way under. We're talking about 55 points. And the Bills, I know Buffalo can score. I know they're capable of scoring a lot of points. 34-28 the final, but that was at home, and they had to come from behind to win the game. They let the Cardinals get after it and really move the football. I think it's significant to look at the Bills and the Dolphins and go, it's a divisional game. I just don't think we're seeing a high-scoring game in week number 2. Now, the injuries do affect here. I'm not going to lie here that backing the Dolphins with the injuries that are going to be in this game, A-Chain is out for the Dolphins. We've got Elijah Campbell, who's questionable for the Dolphins. Raheem Mostert is out for the Dolphins. Other side, you've got a couple of out. Tyron Johnson is out. Javon Solomon is questionable for the Buffalo Bills. Again, short week, hot stadium. A-Chain being out stinks, but I think the Dolphins will be okay here in going ahead and leaning on their depth at running back because they do have weapons to roll through. Mostert out. A-Chain is most likely out. It's going to be a lot of Jeff Wilson here, who's been decent at times. Jalen Wright, who's been decent at times. I think the Dolphins will throw the ball a little bit more, but I also think that they're going to have a tough time throwing the football. So I don't think we're going to see a ton of big yardage here in this game. I just think the Dolphins defense can do a lot. If A-Chain can't go, that's going to be huge, but Mostert's out. We'll see what A-Chain looks like. If he can play, that's huge. I think they'll run the football a ton. Hopefully he's getting ready to go here with this. The number opened up at 1. It's been bet to 2.5. So I think that tells me that A-Chain's going to play in this game. Dolphins minus 2.5. Bills plus 8.5. Teased to 8.5. 55. We're going with the under. Now, we saw 188.5 yards per team passed in week 1 of the NFL. That's the lowest passing yardage in this century for teams in the NFL. I'm not saying the Dolphins can't explode and go off for a ton of yards, but in a divisional game, I'm not sure they're going to. Tua threw for 338 yards in that game, come from behind game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars secondary is awful. The Bills have a decent defense. The Bills should be able to at least contain Tua. I think Tua, in terms of a yardage situation, I think Tua is going to have a 225 type of game. I don't think he'll have 177, but I think if A-Chain can play, they'll run the football, and I think Tua is going to go under his passing number, and I think it's because of the fact that he's not going to have that big play Tyreek Hill like he had. I just think Tua's passing number is going to be too high, and I'll ride this trend of really a lot of unders coming in with passing yardage for quarterbacks. I don't think he throws for a ton of yards. I think this is going to be, it's 265 and a half. I'm going to go under here, or 269 and a half. I'm going to go under with this for Tua. 268 and a half is what I played. 268 and a half for Tua, under. And then I think James Cook is going to have a nice night. James Cook caught 3 balls for 32 yards against Arizona. I think against an aggressive Dolphins front, I think James Cook can catch swing passes and can catch screens. And I think James Cook picks up pretty easily over 18 and a half yards receiving. 3 catches for him, averaged 10.7 yards per catch in the game against Arizona. I think he has a similar type of game here for James Cook. I think he's going to have an opportunity to maybe break off a couple of them. I'm going to go over 18 and a half receiving yards for James Cook of the Buffalo Bills here for 0.55 units. That's to win a half a unit. Okay, so nothing too crazy on this game here for tonight. Nothing too wild, but 4 plays going on Thursday Night Football. Again, we're coming in. I'm taking the Dolphins minus 2.5 for 1.1 units. Teasing the Bills up to 8.5 and taking the under 55 at minus 120. James Cook over 18.5 receiving yards for 0.55 units. And Tua under 268. You might get 269. I bet under 268.5. I just saw a book that's at 269. So you may make it a better number than me. But 268.5 at minus 110 at 0.55. So we're coming in little over, 3.4 units in play here on Thursday Night Football for us on this Thursday. My name is Matt Peralt. Remember, coming up, we'll have a live stream with more player props 30 minutes prior to kickoff. Join me on this very Betting Pros YouTube channel. We'll get at you for the last 30 minutes. We'll talk about the game. We'll break down the game. A-chain, in or out. How does that affect things? I'll have 2 more player props, maybe more. I don't know. We'll see how many player props I like. I may have more than 2 to give you, but I generally play quarter unit on player props. I've got 2 half unit plays coming in, so I may come in with another 4 player props for a quarter unit, depending on what I like and what I see. But I'm giving you the teaser now. I'm giving you the number now because I think the number could be moving around to see if you get 3, that's great. But to me, this is same game type of long teaser situation for taking the Bills up to 8.5 and taking the total down to under 55. 7th, we'll come at you at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern time on the Betting Pros YouTube channel with myself for 30 minutes, taking you up to kickoff. Top of the hour for Thursday Night Football between the Bills and the Dolphins. I will talk to you later on today on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. My name is Matt Peralt. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt, the Deal Juice podcast every morning, presented by DraftKings.